Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to buy a home based on current market conditions? That is the question. It's hard to know and it's hard to say because I can give examples, and I have one right now, which I'll give, where you can buy a home in the right time, using air quotes, right? A good time to buy a home. You can buy a home and still not win. You can buy a home in the bad times and win. You can buy a home in the bad times and lose. You can buy a home in the good times and win. So it really, really, really comes down to the individual home. Yes, the market has something to do with it, but a lot of it's the individual person and the timing. So let me give you a really good example of somebody right now who's trying to sell their home, and she admits she's going to end up having to probably write a check for this home. Reason being, she bought it in good times, or at least right at the end of the good times, but it was new construction, outskirts of the city. So there's a lot of new construction. She's only lived there for a little over a year, maybe, and now has to move for job reasons. And so for that reason, she's going to sell the home because she doesn't want to be a landlord, and just the numbers don't work for her. And I agree. I don't want her to be a landlord. Um, I love rental properties, but for some folks that don't want it, don't do it. But anyway, all this to say, she's going to have to write a check because she lived there for, call it a year. Let's use round numbers. She 1 year. She's now competing with all the builders in the area. And if somebody's going to buy a house, go to this house or the one next door that's brand new and they get to pick their paint colors, that may be the one they're going to go with. And by the way, the builder's offering all kinds of financial incentives to do it. However, if she were to keep this home and live there for a few years down the road, I think she'd be just fine. But in that instance, you can see how no matter when she bought, with all the competition moving in a year later, it's going to be hard to recoup some costs when she has to pay for realtors and title fees and moving fees, to where, yeah, you can buy a home even in a good market and still lose money. As far as the overall market, right at the time of this taping, um, for the most part, as a country, there is still a housing shortage. There are some states like Texas, like Florida, that are now getting back to inventory levels that were seen pre-pandemic. So it's 5, 6 years ago. So the good news is in 2019, it's not like we were sitting on this glut of inventory. 2020 came, and just when COVID hit, it just ate all that up. So while the inventory levels are high, unlike what happened in 2006, 7, 8, right, during the mortgage meltdown, in 2006, and I'm going to use rough round numbers for stats, but there was something like 3 million homes for sale in the United States, 3 million homes for sale. And there was estimated to be about 1 million buyers. And so when that glut hits, it just gets real hard. And with all the phony, little loans that were going on, it made for a bad problem. In today's market, so understand, we're now 2006, we're 18, almost 20 years later. America has grown, population has grown. The millennials have hit, like, they're starting to hit their peak of buying time in their lives, mid 30s, late 30s. They're starting to get married, have kids, etc. So you got this big wave of population that now needs home ownership, and that number has flipped. It's like 3 million people now are eligible to buy homes or need to buy homes, and there's not even 1 million for sale. And if the 1,000,001, 1,000,002 numbers show up, the reality is, I think it's like 400,000 of those aren't even built. They're just homes that are under construction that you can't actually move into yet. So there's still, as a country, there's still a shortage. So is this a good time to buy? Sure. But if you go buy somewhere where, and you don't live there very long, it could be bad. So there's no right answer. The way to do this, to answer the question honestly, is contact a fantastic, a great, a wonderful, amazing professional that sells real estate, a realtor, a really good one that does a lot of volume and knows the area really well. Let them help give you insights to local markets and what they think's coming and what's happening, because that's really going to be the best. Again, you can lose even in a good market. So is this a good time to buy? I think it's always a good time to buy if a bunch of check boxes get met. So what are those check boxes? You determine that. So I think, again, there's a good time to buy is potentially a lot of times. I don't think this is the 07, 08. And, time will tell. But again, the stats and data I see just don't suggest this gluttony of homes coming online. So I hope that answers your questions. If you disagree or do agree, love to hear back from you. Give me your feedback. Tell us what you agree or don't agree with. And as always, if you got questions, reach out to us. mortgagemark.com is where you can reach us. And when you think mortgage, think Mark.